Sorry, it's nice to meet you. I'm available. You know what's more attractive than a gamer? Don't answer that, it's rhetorical. That's right, skateboarders. And you know what's a better life skill than gaming? Cooking. And a better, method of combat than cooking? Turn-based. Now stick with me here. What if we did all of that? Today we're talking about the video game that would steal your girl. If you had one. Yeah, I went there. Fight me.
Go easy on him. He's very lonely.
Thirsty Suitors is, in a word, fantastic. Unfortunately, my job requires me to use more words, so in that case, it's really good. Oh, you want more words than that? Well, how privileged of you. Fine then. Thirsty Suitors is hard to describe. I can tell you it's an indie game by a small minority-led studio called Outer Loop Games. I can even tell you it was published by Annapurna Interactive. But it becomes a struggle when I have to explain exactly how this game is a skating game, dating sim, turn-based RPG, and cooking game wrapped into one amazing package. And it's gay, which is like super bonus points, but we'll get there. Without diving too deeply into the story, you play as a spunky mid-20s woman named Jala Jayaratna. She's heading home, forced to face her past filled with teenage angst and fiery hot exes after her most reckless decision recently dumped her. Sorry if you see this, but relatable. Odd parallels to my own life aside, the story revolves around you fighting to win back the friendship of the many hearts you left broken in your younger years. And in perhaps the best twist of the game, you're not actually trying to date any of them. Does this cross off the dating sim tag? Maybe, but don't tell YouTube SEO that. More importantly, it doesn't have any dating involved because there's actually a cohesive story to be told here. Thirsty Suitors has a lot of different stories to tell, from the ostracism that can come with being gay to the expectations that cross generations and countries. It manages to hit some hard points in the middle of being one of the goofiest games I've ever played. And yeah, I'm going to abruptly pivot. This game is amazing and does a great job capturing emotional stories that I absolutely love to see portrayed in this medium, but I also respect it a lot and I gotta sell you on this gameplay so you can experience the story yourself. Most of the game swaps between three major gameplay styles. It's hard to decide which one is the most important because they all work pretty hard together. Not cooking though. If I had to say, the turn-based combat does seem to be the main focus. Skating does have a lot of attention put in, but it's also just a cool way to travel, and doing skate challenges levels up your combat anyway. There are no skating stats to increase, and while cooking is fun, it's also mainly there to just create new consumables for combat. And while these wildly different gameplay styles feel weird to throw together, it never feels like you're playing multiple games. This game has some of the most intricately woven game design that I've ever seen in a video game. Sorry, I just wanted more screen time. I'll get back to it. Every system works in some way to support or mingle with the others, usually in a bunch of ways. For example, based on your actions throughout the game, you gain points in one of three personalities or thirst sonas, which is definitely not a reference to anything. For example, if you're a needy attention grabber like myself, you'll gain points toward the star, who wants to be the center of attention. Screen time! In turn, these points grant you different stats in offense and defense, and occasionally you can gain points of your own to put in any category to sort of tip the scales, so to speak. And there are so many connections like this, too. Jala's past as a high school basketball player is referenced by special attacks, and also by her mother while cooking. The cooking and combat both use the same QuickTime events. High friendship with some exes grant powerful summon abilities in combat. This sort of attention to detail and world building is absolutely insane. So much of it could be easily missed or passed off as one of the equally crazy things that happens. I mean, a large part of the story involves you fighting teenagers to stop a man in a bear mascot costume from creating a cult to rig the mayoral election. This game is off the rails, but there never was a point where you don't take anything extremely seriously. That's another thing I feel like I've barely scraped the surface of. This game is absolutely bonkers. The animations are wild, the characters are so over the top. I mean, even the premise is kind of just ridiculous. I mean, someone with 6 whole X's? Unheard of. It's not a long game, and a lot of it is driven by story, but I really wanted to talk about it. I mean, you unlock almost every model in the game as a playable skater, including the dog. The dog is a playable skater, guys. There's obviously a lot of love in this game. The amount of care put into the characters and the effort to portray different walks of life is incredible. There are no perfect characters, everyone has their flaws, but you get to see a side of the world that video games don't tend to show too often. Grounded struggles with homosexuality, gender identity, race, and acceptance are somehow taken extremely seriously on a background of crazy love combat and skateboarding, and if you've gotten this far, check out the game, I promise it's worth a look. Even if you just watch a playthrough from your second favorite YouTuber. Because I'm your favorite and I don't have a playthrough. Sorry!
Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end. This video is dedicated to Onyx, and if you like indie games as much as I do, maybe check out this other video where I talk about an indie game that's going to dethrone Donkey Kong.